Hey everybody, I can't tell you how excited I am to talk about this book. Um, I got this in the mail, I don't know, about 2 weeks ago or so, a week and a half ago, something like that. And the instant that I pulled it out of its packaging, I was in awe. I was in shock at how beautiful it is, just purely from a design sense. Um, I still can't believe it. I love the idea of a book that's put together with the thought and care of making something that looks so visually beautiful and attractive. It just grabs your attention more than just your kind of standard comic book cover or something like that. Sorry, I'm flipping through some of my stuff I've got sitting right next to me with like just a everyday comic. There's nothing wrong with this. It's a superhero comic. It's got X-Men. It's got the Marvel logo, the corner box, the dollar, like the price, the barcode. It's perfect for what it's supposed to be. But this is just something entirely different. It's so Peter Pan Volume 1. This is a book done. It was a Kickstarter thing done by artist Renae Dillons and her husband Ray Dillon. I did a review on Ray Dillon's book. Where the hell did I put it? I had it right here. Jesus, there it is. I did this book recently. I was talking about Ray's great artwork, his innovative design sense, his lettering and everything like that. But the combination of them together on this is it's on a whole other level. Now, being completely honest, I am not necessarily in any specific way, shape, or form a fan of Peter Pan. I'm not saying that like I dislike it. I've never read the book. I've actually never even seen the Disney animated thing. My closest connection to anything with Peter Pan, where I like it, is the Steven Spielberg movie Hook. Now, I knew the basic story of Peter Pan. How can you not? Like, this fantasy world, second star to the right, straight on till morning, where these lost boys live in perpetual youth, and he comes to the real world, or our world, and meets this girl Wendy, and a love story starts. And I knew the basic story, and I thought the movie Hook, for as much as it's not well regarded, and even Steven Spielberg himself doesn't particularly care for it, I like the concept of we're taking the story and moving it forward and seeing what happened to Peter Pan when he grew up, and Robin Williams was great. I actually really like the movie, even though it's not very well regarded, generally speaking. But that's the closest kind of connection to Peter Pan that I've ever had. But I've been aware of this book for several years, and I just decided to pull the trigger when I went and visited their website and picked up Ray's book, and I saw this, and it was for a pretty damn good price. I'm like, you know what? I got to get it. I want to see it. Especially, part of it is because I'm doing my YouTube channel, and I want to branch out and show different things, because all I have to speak about, generally speaking, of what I've picked up over the years, and it's basically a lot of Marvel and Image and some DC stuff by the creatives, the artists that I love. So it's a lot of standard superhero junk. Some brilliant, some garbage, some in the middle of the road, but I wanted something different. So picking up some indie books by some other creators, I tried my best to showcase indie books all over the place. But this thing, it's going to be a unique thing in and of itself, in that the artwork and the story is adapted by Renae Dillons, because if I understand correctly, Peter Pan is in the public domain now, so you can do this legally. I say that being a guy over here doing my own fan comic of something that is absolutely not in the public domain, so it's just an outlaw fan work. But as I understand it, Renae Dillons just loves the story of Peter Pan. It's been something that she loved, and she wanted to adapt the original story as written by the original author into a comic book, putting her kind of artistic spin and vibe on it. And my God, is she a good artist. Like, holy shit. So what I was getting at a second ago, and I kind of trailed off, one of the most unique things is that I believe this is the first time on my channel we're showcasing a book where the main force, and not to take anything away from her husband, who inked lettered and colored this whole thing. It's all beautiful, but the story is adapted by and it is drawn by Renae. So this is the first time a woman is a focus of the as the creative focus of the book. Like I said, I'm not trying to take anything away from Ray. They both made this, but when the artist is a woman, that is a first for my channel. It's not because obviously there are women out there in the comics industry, but by and large it's mostly men. Obviously, especially historically speaking, it was kind of like a men's creative field for the most part and written for boys typically. These days, there are comics out there by everyone of all different types, men, women, old, young, and books for everybody. Superhero, action, adventure, romance, stuff for kids. It's all out there. There's so much content out there to read, but I am glad and proud to have the first time I'm focusing on a book by a woman. It's Renae Dillons. She's an incredible artist. She's very kind. I was mentioning this in my review of Ray Dillon's book, how they do on Wednesdays, they do a live stream of her husband and another gentleman that's on there with them, and they talk about comics and art, and they do reviews of work. And on their, I think it was their first one, I submitted several pages of my own from my He-Man comic, and her and Ray looked at them and they gave very good, valuable advice. They were complimentary. There's some things that they liked, some things they offered some suggestions on, and I was nervous as hell sitting there watching it live, like, oh God, they're gonna shit on it. Of course they're not gonna shit on it. They're not. That's not what they're there to do. They're not there to tear anybody down. They're there to offer their very informed opinion, and they were complimentary, and they offered some advice that I've taken to heart. I have adapted in my brain. Do this. Watch out for this. Pay attention to that. So, and another thing is, like, a comic book drawn by a woman is going to have a different visual perspective than anything a guy would do, generally speaking, because guys tend to just think a certain way. I'm talking in a broad sense. And I think anytime that there's a woman involved, they're going to bring something new to the industry that maybe you don't get. Like myself, I am putting together book 5 of my He-Man comic, and there is a 8 or 9 page chapter where I brought in a friend of mine. Her name is Jessica, and I wanted her very specifically to write this small chapter from the perspective of She-Ra, from a female character. I wanted a woman's voice to speak for the woman character, because I can only write the story from my male brain and my life experiences, and I'm not a professional writer. I do the best that I can, but I wanted a woman's perspective on it. And she brought something different to it that I would have never thought of. So I had her write it, and then I got another friend of mine, Danielle, to be the physical model. She came over and I took pictures of her to model for the story, and then I drew it. And it's one of the funnest things I've ever done. So I like the idea of taking a great work, and it's different because it's given a new perspective because a woman is creating it. She's drawing it. There's so much I want to talk about, but like I was saying, when I first dug this out, I was shocked at how beautiful this is. I love the logo. I love that it's in this gold foil looking on the edge. You got the gold foil there too. It looks so good. And I love on the back, you can read this. Peter Pan, the graphic novel, is a faithful adaptation of J.M. Barrie's, is that how you say it? Barrie's original novel, Peter and Wendy, adapted and illustrated by Renae Dillons and Ray Dillon. I love, like, it's not black, like the light above my desk here is kind of obscuring. It's kind of black at the top, but it kind of fades gets lighter into a night sky, and these stars, and is this the second star to the right kind of thing? I love that with these stars at the bottom. It's so, there's something about it that's, I love nighttime. I love a starry sky. I love a beautiful, like, image of like a night sky. I don't even have the words for it. It's so calming and peaceful to me. I love it even on the edge. And then this shot of her looking out the window, you got Big Ben in the background, the designs of the architecture. It is just so beautiful. I was like, holy shit, this is one of the best looking books I've ever touched. Flipping it open, I love that it's black. Most times these books are just white on the inside or something like that. They both signed it. I assume they do that to all copies of this. You got Renae and Ray's signature on there. So black, and then another black page, but some artwork. just thrown in here, kind of faded into it. Like, oh my God, from a design sense, I love this. Renae and Ray, yourselves, please, if you see, you better watch this. I'm sure you will. I'm curious, maybe you've answered this before, but who was the driving force behind the design elements of this? Who decided to like make it black? Who decided to do this and throw in this beautiful like inset page right here? And then again, dark pages, and then I love the color choices. It's like a calming, subtle nighttime scene. Again, you get those stars at the bottom. I love it so much. And they're dedicating it to their children, Tyson, Drake, and Porter, and to everyone who still believes in fairies. And then getting into the table of contents, part 1, 2, 3, written by the original author, adapted and illustrated by Renae Dillons, inked, colored, and lettered by Ray Dillon. And again, the images are fading into this here. Flip it open, another black page starting here, and a beautiful like splash page. I was talking about when I was looking at Ray's own individual book that he can color, and he knows what he's doing, but the coloring on this is just next level shit. I love the fog, the smoky backgrounds, beautiful perspective. To you, Ms. Dillons, the architecture, it all is perfect. It feels like a setting that you understand that you're seeing. And then it took me a second after looking at it, noticing that in the reflection of the moon, we're seeing probably Neverland in the reflection of the water. Is this in the book? Is this in the original novel? Or is this something that they came up with, Renae and Ray, as an opening page with this foggy England kind of setting and then the reflection of Neverland? It looks so great. I'm already immersed in like the visual storytelling. Now, I haven't read this in its entirety yet. I can't wait to talk about just the book itself and the visuals. Her drawing style, it looks so beautiful. It's so good. You know, my baby come back. You know, the story of Peter, how he kind of gets taken away. She's not in the bed. The details, and again, the coloring. It's such a beautiful collection of perfect penciler, inker, colorist. And you're going to hear me saying this a lot. Good God, does this look good. Again, I'm so excited. I love the opening splash page. It's so moody. Double splash page with just a couple of words. The layout, the design of it all, the coloring is beautiful. And then just this, Peter Pan, Volume 1, Part 1, the shadow, and these kind of like leaves blown in the wind with this like color, it's drawn in color. And again, the fade of the dark, and then it fades to light. I am just drawn in instantly. It looks so good. God damn, you guys did a good job on this. And then start the story proper. The coloring, the drawing, the composition, it is just amazing. I remember seeing Renae post up this page in pencils a long time ago and just being fascinated by how well it's done. The beautiful drapery and everything like that. And the thing that Renae adds to her work, and I've seen her, she's posting quite a lot again on Instagram and social media, and I believe this falls into the realm of the difference between having a woman creator. She'll draw female figures. Imagine if Mark Silvestri was given this page. You know she's going to have a sharper angle on her back and a little bit more prominent butt, and maybe see her breast sticking out. Renae is not interested in over-sexualizing any of this shit because it's not necessary, it's not the time or place, but she's very beautiful. She is beautiful, she is elegant, there is a sexy element to it, but it is not done in the way that a traditional comic book artist, especially a guy, would do. And that is another one of those elements that I think just stands out that she does in her work. And it makes me stop and think, I need to scale my shit back because I might just become coming across as kind of ridiculous. Like, scale it back. We don't need to have that over the top nonsense in these comics. It's not necessary. Her work is beautiful. I love just the compositions of everything. You're going to just hear me repeat. Composition is beautiful. Drawing is beautiful. Coloring is amazing. I just love this all. So I'm not going to talk too much about the story because, one, I haven't read this in its entirety yet, so I can't speak on it, and I don't know the original works. But just look. Beautiful dog, beautiful backgrounds, babies that look like babies, kids that look like kids, dogs that look like dogs. I mean, Renae is an incredibly skilled visual sequential comic book artist, and she should be drawing some professional books. She has. I mean, I want to make sure I don't skip that part. She did a New York Times best-selling The Last Unicorn, and then for DC Comics, Eisner-nominated Legends of Wonder Woman. I want to pick up both of those. I definitely need to. So this is my first time getting to see at length sequential storytelling by them, and I just like look at the details on this. She's crouched down, the toys, the candles, the dolls, the lighting of the candle kind of like just illuminating just this little part where she's at. It looks fantastic. Holy shit, look at this. This fantasy world, the mountains, the skies, the crazy grounds, the water with the light reflecting through it, the boat up top there. I can't get over how good this looks. It looks just so amazing. Look at this coloring right here in the space, the galaxies in the distance, this beautiful coloring. I love this like moody, like a light in the distance and these trees. I could just go on and on and on, and I probably will. But guys, you created one of the most, right now in my brain, because it's so prominent, this is the most beautiful book I've ever touched. Like, I struggle to think of anything better. Now, it's subjective and it's different genres. How do you compare this to Watchmen? Like, it's not the same thing. And Watchmen is perfect as it is the way it was made. You don't see coloring like this in that book, but it's not supposed to. But I am just in shock at how beautiful this thing is. I can't get over it. I love night skies. I was talking about these clouds, the highlights of the light on the clouds, the star up there. This extreme perspective as she looks out and looking down at the ground, and then she looks up into the sky. Just, it's so beautiful. And I'm just repeating myself, but just too damn bad. Just look at the storytelling, the clothes, it's in a setting, like it's in a time period, an era. It's in England. This is not in America. So there's got to be clothing that looks correct. The dog is awesome. I mean, how do you learn to draw animals? I'm curious how you do that. I love the architecture, the building, the bricks, the railings, the stairs, the trees and bushes and grass. Again, just these beautiful night skies. I can't get over. I want my books to look like this, but because I can't color and I can't pay anybody else to color, I'm constantly in black and white. So I'm doing the best that I can to give them the kind of depth and awe that you can, but this is just coloring. You can't match it. This looks fantastic. This almost silhouette and that kind of misty, cloudy background. It feels magical is what it does. It feels magical, the way that these things should be. Part 2, come away, it says. More beautiful backgrounds. The lighting of these candles that are lit in the room and this little glowing light coming in the window. We all know what it is. It's got Tinkerbell. This is an adorable version of Tinkerbell. I love it. It's not, I would never come up with this version because I just don't think this way. And that's why I like seeing someone else doing something different. You got Peter Pan. Amazing work, just nonstop. So there's going through kind of the, where they meet each other, they see each other. There's the whole thing with the shadow that he's chasing. The fascination between the two of them, the little thimble. I shall now give you a kiss, and it's a thimble. That whole, I know the basic tenets of the story, but I'm just amazed at the artwork and the coloring. It's so great. And I know I'm getting kind of boring just repeating myself, but I want you guys to see all these pages. I'm not going to tell you the whole story because you don't need to know it. What you need to do is you need to go out and buy this goddamn book. Holy shit, Ray. I love your holy shit coloring choices. That's the color choices in the background, and then the street lamp and the highlights on the brick wall and the ground. It almost looks wet. I mean, you can see the moisture on the ground. Fucking flawless, guys. Flawless. Holy shit. There's no way that this could be done any better. You plop down any major colors from another major studio, any comic book, anybody. Put them down there and tell them to color it. They will not come up with something better. Maybe something equal, but not better. Ray, you are a first-rate colorist, man. Good God. I'm just fascinated by this. And I say this having spoken a lot recently in my reviews about how some of the older books on flat newsprint and those flat colors just look better than modern comic book coloring. There's always an exception. Done right, this beautiful glossy paper and beautiful perfect coloring with someone who knows what the fuck they're doing. This is perfect. This would not look better on newsprint and flat colors. Like, I keep using this just because it's out. I've got it sitting out. I'm going to pop it out here. But this issue of Uncanny X-Men, issue 175, like, this book looks great just as it is. These old school flat colors, the ripped pages. I mean, the fact that this book is old and kind of ripped up on the edges and kind of yellowing. The colors are flat, but they work. It works perfectly as it should in this. But holy God, does this just look, this is just a whole other level. It is so beautiful. So, you know, the story just goes on. There's nothing more than I can add. I love this shot of the dog. That looks so great. Peter Pan's really interesting looking. The kids. It's so hard to draw children when you're an artist like a Mr. Rob Liefeld and all you draw is big muscly superheroes. If you're ever tasked with drawing a kid, you don't know how to do it. I don't either. I can't do this. But Renae is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. She knows how to draw kids. She knows how to draw adults. She knows how to draw animals. She knows how to draw backgrounds and buildings and textures and everything and camera angles. She is a first-rate artist. And I'm just blown away by what I've seen in this book. Part 3, The Island Come True. God damn, another great, like, is it snow falling? The big, like, circle in this architecture, the lighting, a beautiful bird, an old nun in this church. Look at this. Look at this double page spread. I think of a lot in a way, Mary Poppins comes to mind quite a bit with the chimney sweeps and all that shit. These smokestacks way above the city and the moon glowing in the background. And then look at this beautiful architecture on these buildings. Snow on the ground. This angle of they kind of coming down, the kid with the top hat on. Like, it makes me feel happy. The whimsical, fun nature of this. And Renae, if that was your intention, I don't know who to give most credit for it. Just because I see it's adapted by Renae and drawn by her, I get the feeling that this was her passion project and brought her husband along with her. Guys, please comment and correct me. But Renae Dillons, I feel like if this is your passion project and if you're trying to impart the joy and whimsical fun nature of the original book, which I can't speak to because I've never read it, but I understand it exists and I understand that fun, lighthearted, joyful storytelling that you can see in the right kind of movies. Like, again, Mary Poppins is one of those movies that makes me feel that way. Animated movies, books, comics, when you come away with a feeling of adventure and joy. Renae, you nailed it. And not even having read this, just looking at the artwork, I feel happy. I feel moved. I just love it. Oh, good God. Look at that. There are no words. I don't even need to open my fat, stupid mouth and to say anything about that. Ray, you nailed the coloring. It is fucking beautiful. The clouds, and then the basic composition, like it's tilted slightly. The sun just barely going down. The water, the highlights. God, it moves me emotionally. I love it. It's so amazing. I love this. Where they're traveling over the water and seeing the reflections. That's what I'm seeing, right? And they're just having so much fun traveling off into the distance. Tinkerbell and that light little glowing star and the little trailed off kind of like sparkles coming out from her as they're talking. And then that distance, that color, they sleep while they're flying. That's an I didn't know. Was that in the book? Was that a thing? I had no idea. That's really interesting. It was while they slept after many moons that they draw near to Neverland. That's really interesting. And God, I'm just look at this perfect melding of composition, drawing, and coloring. That looks amazing. Like, fuck, it looks so good. You know when an artist and a creative team, their heart and soul are put into it. You can feel it. It's oozing out of this book. I recently reviewed the Deathmate prologue, and what a god-awful book that was. And I was talking about how Barry Windsor Smith drew several pages at the beginning of it, and I was commenting how, like, I don't think he gave a shit. It seems clear to me that Barry Windsor Smith did not give a fuck about that book at all. And in the comments, somebody commented how he said himself it was just a paycheck to him. And I don't begrudge any artist, especially in that era, hooking up with the Image Boys and doing a big crossover, a couple of pages. They probably made thousands and thousands of dollars. I don't begrudge them for doing that. Sometimes a job is just a job, but it's way more interesting when a creative team is doing something that they feel all their heart and soul is being dumped into it, and you can just see it on the page. And that, oh, Jesus Christ, look at this. Look at the coloring on that. God, that is interesting. I've only flipped through this once or twice, and I've read like the first, third of it or so. So I haven't, some of these things, like I haven't even paid attention to this. Holy shit, look at the clouds forming these animals and kids and the moon. God, this is so fascinating. God, this looks great. I love everything about it. Again, another great clouds and moon scene. I love all of that down through there. It feels very atmospheric and interesting. An explosion of fire. The pirates, is that what's going on here? God, that's kind of scary. They're hiding, and these mean pirates coming out of the distance. The whole color palette of this whole thing. There's so much color in it. But then you got cool colors and warm colors, so they pop out and you see it. Look at this wild, like, gnarled trees and rocky textures. I don't know where you get the imagination to come up with this. Jesus Christ, look at this double page spread. It's beautiful, guys. It's beautiful. So good. I'm kind of like experiencing parts of this for the first time in a way. This is amazing. Oh, and then you get to draw some wicked awesome animals. Wolves, alligators, crocodiles, excuse me. Look at that gnarled, textured, scaled body. It's so good. Look at these scummy, evil pirates. Very kind of cartoony characters. Like this must be an intentional part. They got kind of like big heads and little spindly little legs. It's a very kind of cartoony vibe going on there. I love it. And then, Captain Hook, right? Great. I see him and I just think of Dustin Hoffman. That's what I see. Looks great. I love this. The details on this hook. He's like digging into this armrest. The little skulls on the kind of the cup part that's attached to his hand. It's so great. I like this kind of silhouette shot where you see like the edging of his hat and the feathers sticking out is kind of in shadow. What a great little drawing right there. I'm going to bring it up closer to the camera. That looks amazing. Bangarang. Man, it's just, it all looks so amazing. I love this. I remember seeing this, like that sun in the distance again as they walk towards it. Great splash page of these kids. So I know this is basically 30 minutes of just going, oh my God, it's so good. Oh my God, it's so good. But it is. It deserves every bit of praise that I think I'm heaping onto it because it's amazing. I love this shot. She's got the arrow on her shoulder, the colors, and then it kind of fades out into space to be continued. And then look at just another great like design. Like, who decided to put this in here with this color, this shot from inside the book? I love it. But who decides that? Who comes up with that? Who's got the design sense to do, we're doing this? And then there's some talking about the supporters of there was a Kickstarter that they did, and some people talking about the book. Very interesting stuff. I like having a bunch of extra back matter in the back of this stuff to be able to read and just get extras besides just the comic itself. Really interesting stuff. They're talking about, please consider donating directly to the J.M. Barrie's chosen beneficiary of Peter Pan story, Great Ormond Street Hospital Children's Charity at, there you go. So if you wanted to donate to the Children's Hospital, I love how they threw that in there. That's beautiful. The child first and always. I love it. And then the Lost Boys and Girls. Because I'm not sure, because they've got back here honorary. I believe that these are like the people who donated to the Patreon. And why are these in brighter gold than these? I'm guessing these are people that donated to the Patreon at different levels. I'm guessing. I'm sorry, I don't know off the top of my head, but it's awesome to get your name in the book. That's great. I love the kind of the gold. It's awesome. Yeah, that looks great. And then there's the original author. That's awesome. This book is a testament to his brilliant mind for storytelling decades on, and Peter Pan lives on through the generations. We thank you for leaving us inspired to dream the dream and to take us to places we've never been. That's beautiful. I love that. And then just some more extra stuff. You know, more Peter Pan stuff, books and nostalgic books and comics, and address to look up if you want there. And then basically that's it. Like I said, when I pulled this out of the packaging in the mail and I looked at it, I just was like, I was in shock. I'm like, oh my God, this is beautiful. Like, and if I touch it with my fingers, it leaves like my oils from my hand. I got to get and kind of rub it off and clean it up and then get it in some kind of packaging or something and put it away. Anyway, Renae Dillons, Ray Dillon, you guys are badasses. You guys created something that I think you know, but you don't need me to say it. I'm a nobody. But you guys created something here that is absolutely stunning. It is beautiful beyond description. You guys are absolutely champions. Incredible creators, incredible artists, both of you. And you deserve all the praise that can be imagined because this is such an amazing work. And yes, I am just gushing over it. No, they did not pay me off to do this, to say this. This is me saying my own opinion. All I did was ask them, do you care if I feature these on the channel? And all I got back from them was absolutely, we would love to see that. They didn't be like, well, you know, if you don't like it, please don't shit on it because, you know, blah. No, they didn't say anything. So I could have said any negatives if I had any, but I don't. There is no negative to be, except there's no volume 2. You know, life takes over, other works come along. These are very labor intensive, so it's not like something you can just pump out in a month. So it would be awesome if they get the opportunity to create more. I would pick it up in an instant, but even if that's not the case, what a beautiful book. You guys, I please, Renae and Ray, chime in if you get the opportunity in the comments, because I like everyone else to see. Like, I'm interested in, like, I'm kind of curious personally about who come up with the design, who did the design sense on the book, who chose how to like lay these out and have these pages and these inset things and do the lettering like this and have this, you know, page there and then this. Like, who comes up with that? Is it a collaboration between the two of you? Is that a specific strength and focus of one of you? It's amazing. And God, I almost forgot. I was about to wrap this up. They sent me also, because you've got the book here. I'm going to adjust this down. The Peter Pan Companion Guide. And Ray Dillon, he messaged me and said that he tossed this in there for me as well. This is basically, let's see. So, yeah, this is something that I'm going to read this, that's something that Renae wrote. Introduction, all children except one grow up. Well, welcome to the Peter Pan the Graphic Novel Volume 1 Companion Guide. Within, you'll find a choice selection of penciled pages along with my thoughts and notes, sketches, and script excerpts. It is a dream for me to be able to recreate J.M. Barrie's, God, I hope I'm saying his name right, beautiful story into graphic novel format. Thank you to all of you who helped this project reach fruition, especially my wonderful Kickstarter backers for their support. And so it's a collection of her penciled work and then some comments from her about it. This, I was like, oh my God, I kind of flipped this open first before I dug into the big book. I kind of flipped through this. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be the thing I love the most because I get to see her work in pencil form. But, and typically I like to see artists work in their raw pencil form. It's just something a little bit more interesting about it because I'm an artist and I sit down and I draw a pencil on paper. And so this is closer to what I do, so I'm a little bit more connected to it. And because I can't color, I'm a little bit more disconnected from the color work. But as you just heard me say, once I popped open that other book, my God, was I just engrossed with how good it is. But look at her penciling. Look at her raw drawing ability. It's so good. She's such a talented artist. There's that image I was talking about. She had posted this online and I saw it. I remember thinking like the folds in the dress, the details, it's amazing. And then Ray to come along, Ray Dillon himself, and to ink it and then color it, beautiful. There's that great shot of that dog, the kid. There's that great double page spread of that Fantasyland, Neverland, obviously. And again, she's talking about it. She says, here I took the opportunity to draw Neverland according to some of the descriptions in the novel, along with some of my own interpretations. What is made clear in the writing is that each person has their own Neverland, and each island is different according to that person's mind. I did not know that. And only children with their imaginations pure and unlocked can find its shores. My own interpretation of the stories each person's Neverland leads to a main island, the real one of magic, the one which Peter lives on. So that's a really interesting kind of take on the story, which, like I said, I know nothing about the original works. But just looking at her penciled artwork, so good. But then you can see how much work goes into, you take the penciled artwork and then doing inking and coloring on it to give it the final look that becomes that graphic novel that we just looked at. This is such a great addition. I'm glad that you guys did this to show her work in those rough stages and her thoughts on it. It's fantastic. There's a rough of that that street scene that I was talking about with the lighting and the bricks and everything like that, how it looks so good on the coloring end of it. And this is a thick book. Like, there's a lot in here. Like, it's not just a couple of pages. It's bigger than a regular comic book by far. It's just beautiful. It's so great. Makes me want to draw, but I'm also like, I could never draw any of this stuff. I am not good enough. I don't have the skills and the understanding that she does to draw at this level. I've got certain things that I can do that I kind of do okay, but this is just like a perfect project for her. There's that Captain Hook that we were talking about, lace, the hooks on that type of thing. So good. And these are sketches from stuff for book 2, which, like we said, it hasn't been able to be produced yet, but maybe we'll get lucky and it will come out. There's the cover to the book. Beautiful. Man, this stuff looks good. Drawing animals is hard. That's a whole other skill set you have to have. And pirate ships, oh my God. They're some of the most elegant, regal, most amazing looking vehicles ever in the history of mankind, and they got to be so goddamn hard to draw. Pardon my language, guys, but holy crap. And that looks great. It's so beautiful. Skipping that page, there we go. Character designs, Tinkerbell. And an excerpt of the script for part 3, just showing how it's written out. Come here, Bubba.
Oh, I thought you were done.
What?
I thought you were done.
Come here.
Okay.
I'm in the middle of a video, and my own sweet little boy's stepping in here to see me. I'm doing a video, and I'm talking about this book right here. Let me show you. Let's look at this book. It's called Peter Pan. Have you ever heard
Your
about that
mom
before?
is.
I don't know what you're talking about. You weird little goofer.
I was gonna say I want some rest because I'm kind of hungry.
All right, well, I'll go make you some food in just a moment, okay?
Okay,
All right. Oh, give me a hug.
I love you so much.
You're such a goofer. I'll see you in just a minute, okay? He's so excited to get on camera. You know what? I don't mind that my little boy interrupted because Peter Pan's all about children and that type of stuff, and that was actually really sweet. He's such a goofer. He gets the idea of being on camera, and then he suddenly starts making goofy voices and sounds and stuff like that. Anyway, Peter Pan by Renae Dillons and Ray Dillon. Let me readjust this again. Guys, thank you for hooking me up with this. I mean, you didn't hook me up. I bought it. I paid for it because I wanted it. But it's beautiful. Thank you for sending this to me. It's amazing. I hope you could tell by everything I've said just how much I enjoy it. Like, it's amazing, and you guys should be proud of this. I'm sure you are. You know, you don't need me to tell you, but I've started this YouTube channel of mine where I'm 5 months into it. June, July, August, yeah, something like 5 months into it, and I'm approaching 1,000 subscribers. So I've got a little bit of an audience, and I want to show this off for anybody to see. I'll have links in the description. Guys, go look these guys up. Go buy their book. Like, it would be awesome if somehow they got sold out. I don't know how many copies of this shit they have left. I have no idea. But it would be awesome if, like, any business went their way. If you guys were to pick up this book from them, send some business their way. It's a passion project, and it deserves recognition, and it'll look beautiful on your shelves. You could show it to anybody. It's for all ages. Hand this to your kids. It's an amazing book. And guys, I'm just repeating myself again. You did amazing work, and I'm honored to have the chance to look at it. So thank you, and I look forward to your next project, whatever that may be. Renae, I see you post on social media recently. You're saying that you've got a secret project that you're working on, and you can't tell anybody what it is yet. I know that I'm going to be picking it up instantly, no matter where it is, whether it's from a big publisher, or it's self-published, or it's a Kickstarter, or whatever the hell you're doing. I will be there to be in line to pick it up as soon as it's available, because you guys know what you're doing. And I feel like a rank amateur looking at my own shit after looking at this stuff. It's amazing, guys. So, yeah, hey, my viewers, go look at their work. Go follow the links. Go check them out. Go see what they've got. Pick up a copy of Peter Pan by Renae Dillons and Ray Dillon. It is beautiful, and I think you'll be happy to have it. So that's all I've got for now. Thank you, everybody, for joining in, and I will see you on the next one.